Having expectations on people is not unconditionally loving. It's conditionally loving, but we all do it. We all have an idea and a role of what a mother and a father should be like, on what a partner should be like, a husband or a wife, a gender role. We all have specifics on what kids should be like, on what our friends, our bosses, and our coworkers should be like. And when people step out of that, even if they're being immoral, unethical, unkind, and unloving, even when people become that, we are justified to become upset. We are personalizing them. Everyone is allowed to be themselves no matter what choices they are making. So when we become upset, that's our own personal rule and law and expectation onto those roles, onto those people that we placed that then make us upset. They are not making us upset. We are making ourselves upset by forcing them in our own minds to act in a certain accordance to whatever belief and laws we have. And here's the thing is we're not necessarily consciously sharing our beliefs. They're internal. So we're waiting for someone else. Oh, they cross the line. Boom. I'm justified to be upset and go off and have conflict and tell them how wrong they are because I've decided in my mind, okay, a partner, if they don't do this, they're wrong. And if they do this, they're right. That's my own law. Oh, if you do this, I feel loved. Thank you. If you do this, I feel unloved. I'm going to go on conflict and have an issue with you. That's our own doing. And so we need to learn to practice forgiveness. You want to forgive those rules and expectations because they're doing things on their own reason, for their own reasons. So if you're personalizing it, that's the ego. Using individuality to kind of create conflict. Because how do you create conflict in war? There has to be separation. There's two things. But if you're unconditionally loving, there's no conflict because you're allowing them to be themselves. And it doesn't mean okay, well, I don't want to be in a relationship. Well, then don't be in a relationship with that person. But they're not the reason why you're upset. You're upset because of your own rule. So if you forgave your own rule, you could see the person for who they are and why they're doing those things. It doesn't mean you can't help but change them. But conflict doesn't bring any peace. When has conflict ever brought peace? What war has ever ended war? It doesn't. It might pause for a bit, call it treaty, but the treaty gets broken all the time. So when you create relationship resolution, it needs to be legitimized. Otherwise, it just comes back up. And so you have to be very mindful of what am I expecting my mother and my father to be? How can I forgive them? Where are they showing love? Because they have their own experiences in their own childhood they're unhealed from. Everyone, including your partner, friends, bosses. So by forgiving your own beliefs and expectations and laws, you actually create space of grace and compassion and you allow people to be themselves without personalizing because they're acting out of their own psyche. And they're not consciously, whether they're intentionally or unintentionally doing it to you, they're doing that to everyone, including themselves. You're not exclusive, but that's the ego personalizing and making their personal individual experience all that there is. So you want to forgive and have grace so then you don't become upset from your own beliefs.